Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my webinar tonight. My name is Marcin. I'm FM Cosmetics UK corporate trainer. And today we're going to talk about Aurile Coffee and Tea. So I hope that you are sitting comfortably so we can start the webinar. First of all, I will tell you general information about coffee. I will introduce to you different types of coffee and also different level of roasting. And then I will tell you about Aurile range. Next, you will find out something about surprising facts about coffee. During the second part of the webinar, you will learn what's the difference between Aurile teas, what is the refining process of loose leaf tea, and what's the proper way of brewing a nice cup of tea. And also, I found for you some interesting facts about tea in general. At the end of the webinar, I will have an exciting news for you regarding new FM Group products for home. So, let me just start from a poll. The very first question that I would like to ask you about is, why do you drink coffee? So in a second, you'll be able to participate in a short quiz. And it will be quite interesting to find out about the results. So once again, if you can take a moment to select one of the answers. Why do you drink coffee? Boost energy, you drink coffee for taste, you drink coffee for socializing, or you drink coffee to relax. So just a few minutes for that. To be honest with you, I'm a fan of coffee, so I drink coffee on the regular basis. My favorite type of Aurile coffee is Aurile Metabolism. I like the coffee for the taste, but also I've got a quite sweet tooth, so the coffee helps me with this habit as it suppresses my appetite. So basically, I drink coffee to boost my energy level, and I like the coffee for the taste. So let's have a look about the results. I'm going to reveal the results in a second. So let's have a look. So why do you drink coffee? Nobody drinks coffee for socializing, which is quite surprising. Most people drink coffee to boost energy level. I suppose that you drink coffee in the morning to give you a kick of energy. 25% drink coffee for taste, and 20% of you drink coffee to relax. In fact, 65% of people who joined the webinar participated in this short poll. So let's move on with our webinar after a very interesting result. And let me tell you something more about coffee. So what is the origin of coffee? The history of coffee goes back to the 13th century. The original native population of coffee is thought to have come from Ethiopia. And coffee was cultivated by Arabs from the 14th century. And the earliest credible evidence of either coffee drinking or knowledge of coffee tree appears in the middle of the 15th century in Yemen. By the 16th century, it has reached the rest of the Middle East, Persia, Turkey, and then North Africa. Coffee then spread to Balkans, Italy, and then to the rest of Europe, then to Indonesia and North and South America. Did you know that the real first coffee house was opened in Vienna in 1683 after the Battle of Vienna by using supplies from the spoils obtained from defeating the Turks? The officer who received the coffee beans, Polish military officer of Ukrainian origin, Jerzy Kulczycki, opened the first coffee house and helped to introduce the custom of adding sugar and milk to coffee. Nowadays, 70% of the world consumes Arabica coffee, which is mild and aromatic, and the remaining 30% drinks Robusta, which is more bitter in taste but has 50% more caffeine than Arabica. What is the difference between Arabica and Robusta? Let's take into account a few factors. First of all, climate. Arabica plants are generally grown at high altitude, while the Robusta enjoys warmer, easier climate closer to sea level. How about taste? Over the years, Arabica has been more popular than Robusta because of its sweet taste and flavor and very nice aroma. However, as the Robusta generally is higher in caffeine, coffee drinkers have recently been rediscovering the joys of blends made up of both beans. Origin seems to be important as well. Arabica was the world's first cultivated coffee variety, originating from Yemen, as I mentioned, and transported around the world by Dutch missionaries and traders. The coffee berries are different too. On most Arabica plants, the coffee berries will drop to the ground once ripe. However, the Robusta coffee berries remain on the plant. Also, the shape of the coffee berries is different. Arabica beans are generally longer and thinner than Robusta. Robusta berries are more round. So which is better? This is a very personal question because it's all about your taste. Let's have a look at some other factors that influence the taste and the aroma of coffee. So, unique taste of coffee does not only depend on the type of coffee, but also it depends on the level of roasting and the way the coffee beans are cooled down, which is called the cooling process. So, there are a few types of roasting levels. Let me tell you about the first one. The first one is green coffee. In fact, it is unroasted coffee. The color of the coffee beans, as you can see, is very fair, a bit greenish. The coffee is a bit sour in taste and it contains very high amount of caffeine. The second type is called cinnamon roast. Sometimes it is called New England roast or House City roast. The surface of the coffee beans is dry and the berries have light brown color. The coffee itself is slightly sour and it contains high concentration of caffeine. The next one is called American roast or Full City roast. There is a slight difference between those two, but we can classify them as one. So the surface of the coffee beans is dry and the coffee berries have light brown color. The coffee itself has strong aroma and well-balanced taste. The taste is sweet with slight sour overnotes. The fourth type is called high roast, continental roast, or Vienna roast. The coffee beans have slightly oily surface, they have dark brown deep color, and the coffee itself has subtle notes of bitterness due to the longer roasting process. And finally, the last type, which is called French roast or Italian roast. Some people call this coffee Spanish roast or espresso roast. The coffee beans are very dark brown, as you can see, the darkest color of them all, nearly black. The coffee itself contains a very low amount of caffeine and the beans have very oily surface. The taste of the coffee is very strong, sour-free, and the long roasting process gives the coffee very smoky aroma and bitter taste. Basically, the rule is the longer the roasting process, the lower amount of caffeine. The beans of Aurile coffee include green coffee, which is unroasted coffee, American roast, and also we've got a coffee which is full city roast. Not all the beans, only 30%. I'll tell you about a bit later on, where the beans are roasted slightly, not longer, but at a slightly higher temperature to give the coffee more aroma and deeper taste. So now let me introduce Aurile range. So Aurile range we can divide into three sections: natural coffees, functional coffees, and aromatic coffees. In natural coffees, we can distinguish pure green coffee, classic, espresso, and also excellence. Functional coffees, here we can distinguish energy, focus, and antioxidant and metabolism. And finally, aromatic coffees, where you can see and where you can find vanilla, Irish cream, cherry, and Scandinavian fruit. So let me start from natural coffees. The first coffee that I would like to describe and tell you more about is natural coffee, Aurile natural coffee, pure green. Aurile natural coffee, pure green, is 100% Peruvian Arabica. It comes from ecological plantations. It has a mild flavor with clear notes of wine. The coffee contains chlorogenic acid, which is a powerful antioxidant. Green coffee may help maintain proper weight and keep you alert due to high content of caffeine. Simply brew the pyramid-shaped coffee bag in hot water to get a healthy and aromatic beverage. There are 20 pyramid-shaped bags in one packaging. And you can brew one pyramid-shaped bag not only once, you can brew it a few times, 3-4 times. The next of the Aurile coffees is Aurile Classic. Aurile Classic is 100% Colombian Arabica. The coffee comes in capsules which are compatible with coffee machines equipped with Nespresso system. There are 10 capsules in one packaging, and 70% of the coffee beans are Aurile Classic, are American roast, and 30%, as I mentioned before, are full city roast, which means they were roasted at the temperature of 225 degrees Celsius to obtain more powerful aroma and intense flavor. Then we've got Aurile Espresso coffee, Espresso Experience. The coffee beans come from selected plantations in South America, mainly Brazilian and Colombian strains, and also Indonesia, because this coffee contains 60% of Arabica, which comes from South America, the countries that I mentioned before, and 40% Robusta, which comes from Indonesia. So the combination creates a memorable strong flavor with nut chocolate overnotes and slightly smoky scent. Aurile Espresso is available as ground coffee in 250-gram packaging. Then we've got Aurile Excellence. This original blend comes from Africa. In fact, that's African Arabica, mainly Moka. The taste of this coffee is velvet and bitter-free, with light overnotes of flour and wine. It doesn't mean that the coffee contains alcohol. This is one of the expressions that you can use in order to describe the taste of the coffee. So it's a little bit sour because it contains Arabica coffee. Experts consider Moka to be one of the noblest coffee varieties, whose deep taste is best without any additives. So I really recommend you to drink Aurile Excellence without any sugar, without any milk, because the taste is nice and smooth. The coffee is available as beans or ground in 250-gram packaging. And in addition, the beans are available in bigger packaging, 1 kilogram. So let's move on and let me tell you some more information about our functional coffees, because this is quite interesting and I hope that you will enjoy the information that I've prepared for you. So the first coffee that I would like to introduce is Aurile Energy. Aurile Energy is a natural coffee with bioactive supplements. If it comes to figures, the product contains 97% natural ground coffee, 2% taurine, and 1% of guarana extract. Also, the coffee contains some vitamins like vitamin B group, which is B2, B3, B5, and B7. The coffee contains 146 milligrams of caffeine, out of which 128 milligrams comes from coffee and 18 milligrams come from guarana extract. 1 cup of Aurile Energy provides you with 200 milligrams of taurine and 100 milligrams of guarana extract. Now, let me focus on the benefits of the ingredients. So first of all, let me tell you about taurine. Taurine is an amino acid which naturally occurs in our body. It helps to deal with stress, strengthen our cardiovascular system, accelerates physical performance, stimulates muscle recovery, and also helps to improve our mood. However, the amount of taurine produced by our body is very small and not sufficient. That's why it is important to provide the body with regular intake of this amino acid, especially during periods of increased physical and mental effort or before and after exhausting workouts. Some of the rich sources of taurine are oysters, for example, fish, and meat, especially turkey. Then the coffee also contains, as you can see on the slide, vitamin B group, mainly B2, B3, B5, and B7. They are necessary for proper metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. They help to keep the body hydrated, and also they increase attention and decrease tiredness and fatigue. Lack of vitamin B group may cause dizziness, insomnia, memory problems, and also concentration problems. The coffee, which comes from the caffeine, which comes from guarana seed, will help to extend the energetic effect of the coffee, because the guarana caffeine will be absorbed by our body much more slowly, so it will make you wide awake for a longer time. Aurile Energy can be particularly recommended to people who are physically active, those ones involved in hard physical work, or working on night shifts, or people with irregular lifestyle. The next coffee that I would like to tell you about is Aurile Focus. It is also a natural coffee with bioactive supplements. The product contains 94% of ground coffee, 5% of magnesium, 1% of guarana extract, and also vitamin B group, B2, B3, B5, and B7. So when we compare Aurile Focus to Aurile Energy, we can notice that Aurile Focus contains magnesium in addition. Magnesium is a very important mineral which increases cognitive processes such as perception, concentration, memory. It is also important for muscle and nerve functions and necessary for more than 300 chemical reactions in the human body. Lack of magnesium may result in muscle contraction, twitching eyelid, headaches, depression, memory problems, and concentration problems. It is very important to provide your body with regular intake of magnesium, because this mineral is rinsed away out of the body on a regular basis. Aurile Focus is highly recommended for people engaged in intellectual work, that ones who study, those people, for example, students, also for those people who are exposed to chronic stress, because stress is one of the factors which may cause magnesium deficiency in the body. The next functional coffee that I would like to tell you about is Aurile Antioxidant. Aurile Antioxidant is also a natural coffee with bioactive supplements. The product contains 97% of coffee, 1.5% green mate extract, 1% of acai berry extract, and it is also enriched with vitamins such as E, and in addition it contains zinc. So let's focus on the supplements that Aurile Antioxidant contains. So first of all, there's vitamin E and zinc. Both supplements are very strong antioxidants. They simply remove free radicals out of the body. They both boost our immune system and protect our DNA from getting damaged. Antioxidant properties of Aurile Antioxidant has been strengthened by green mate extract and acai berry extract. Aurile Antioxidant is perfect for people who want to live healthier life, those who have poor eating habits, and also it's great for smokers as the active ingredients will help to cleanse the body out of toxins. Then we've got Aurile Metabolism. So this coffee has been our best seller for quite a long time. To be precise, from the very beginning. As the other three, Aurile Metabolism is a natural coffee with bioactive supplements. Now, let me tell you about the figures because I think it's quite important to know. The coffee contains 98% of ground coffee, 1% of Garcinia cambogia extract, which is a source of hydroxycitric acid. Also, it contains 0.74% of L-carnitine and is enriched with chromium, zinc, and vitamins B, B2, B3, B5, and B7. All of the ingredients accelerate metabolism of fats and carbohydrates, and the impact of health and recommended dietary allowance of the active ingredients have been scientifically proven and described in scientific literature. As I mentioned before, the coffee contains Garcinia cambogia extract, which is a source of hydroxycitric acid. The acid reduces absorption of fat in the body, suppresses appetite, and also stimulates fat burning process and protects proteins at the same time, which is quite important. Another active ingredient, which I mentioned in Aurile Metabolism, is L-carnitine. L-carnitine is a natural substance which occurs in the cells of human body. It helps the body produce energy by turning fat into energy, and it accelerates fat burning process, which results in faster loss of body mass. The coffee also contains zinc, which boosts our immune system. Zinc is important for 100 chemical reactions in the body, and it also stabilizes our DNA. Lack of zinc, for example, may result in hair loss or immune system disorders. And finally, chromium, which helps to maintain proper blood sugar level. It controls insulin secretion, and also it turns fat, carbohydrates, and proteins into energy, so it prevents fat tissue growth. I would recommend Aurile Metabolism for those ones who would like to improve their metabolism and stay slim. So in conclusion, I would like to say that Aurile functional coffees are great if it comes to taste. Just to remind you, all of them contain Arabica and Robusta beans. The supplements do not change the fantastic taste of Arabica and Robusta. They may improve and maintain your health, However, the coffee is not a remedy or a medicine. So if you have any health issues and you are not sure whether or not you can drink the coffee, so please consult your doctor beforehand. And now, very smoothly, we're moving to our aromatic coffees. Let me tell you a few information about the coffees. Aurile flavored coffees also contain 60% of Arabica and 40% Robusta. The coffees are prepared from original blends according to traditional Italian recipes. They are sugar-free, sweeteners-free, alcohol-free, and dairy products-free. So they can be drunk also by people allergic to lactose. There are 4 delicious flavors, which you can try if you haven't tried them yet. The first one is Aurile Vanilla. Then we've got a fantastic aromatic coffee Irish cream, cherry, and finally Scandinavian fruit. Now we're moving smoothly to the second part of the coffee topic. I'm going to tell you a few interesting facts about coffee in general. So the first one is that coffee is the most popular drink worldwide, and with over 400 billion cups consumed each year. Last year in Britain, 730 million pounds was spent on coffee, and it takes 42 coffee beans to make an espresso. 37% of coffee drinkers drink their coffee black, while 63% add a sweetener into the coffee, such as sugar. 57% of coffee is drunk at breakfast, so people drink coffee in the morning. According to the poll that we organized at the beginning of the webinar, you too, the biggest percentage of all of you drink coffee to boost energy level, and perhaps that happens in the morning. 34% of people drink coffee between meals, and only 9% drink coffee as a complimentary meal, as a complimentary drink with other meals. Coffee was first known in Europe as Arabian wine. We didn't call coffee coffee because we didn't know what it was. First, we called coffee Arabian wine. And Scandinavian people drink the biggest number of coffee cups per year. In fact, Scandinavia has the world's highest per capita annual coffee consumption, which is 26.4 pounds. This is quite a staggering figure, I must say. Now, let me tell you how to brew a nice cup of coffee. There are many different methods to prepare delicious Aurile coffee at home, and the best way is to experiment and to find the one that you like most. I'm going to tell you tonight about Moka Pot, because Moka Pot you can get from FM, and the coffee is so delicious. So the Moka Pot is also known as a stove pot and has a lot of reasons to be loved. It's simple, affordable, portable, and it produces great coffee, and it's available in FM, as I said. Hot water is added to the bottom chamber of the Moka Pot, and coffee grounds are added right above it. The Moka Pot is then heated over a stove. The heat causes the water to go through the filter, and the resulting drink is steamed to the top of the chamber. When the coffee is done, you should stop further extraction by pouring the coffee straight into a cup. Because if you keep it for a longer time, the coffee may be a little bit too bitter in taste. So we've reached the end of part 1 of the webinar regarding coffee. And now let's move on to the second part. And I'm going to tell you about our fantastic teas. So let's have a short quiz. Do you drink more tea or coffee? Just give me a second and I'll open the quiz. Okay, so I encourage you to participate in this quiz because I'm quite curious about the result. Do you drink more tea or coffee? So far, 70% of you attending the poll, and the result is quite interesting. I will reveal the result in a second. So let's stop the voting, and here's the result. So as you can see, more of you prefer tea, which is not surprising, I must say. 43% of you prefer tea, whereas 34% coffee. Are you surprised by the poll? Yes, some of you are surprised. Did you think that British people drink more coffee than tea? I think it's quite obvious. So let's move on with the webinar, and let me tell you interesting things about Aurile tea. Before I'll describe to you Aurile tea, let me tell you about tea in general. So, what is tea? In fact, all tea comes from the same plant, which is called Camellia sinensis. Even though all tea comes from one plant, there are about 1,500 varieties of Camellia sinensis. So, why do we have green tea, red tea, and so forth? I'll tell you about the refining process, because the type of tea, white, green, red, or black, depends on the way the leaves are harvested, and also it depends on the process, the refining process. So, what stages the tea leaf refining process consists of? As you can see, the first stage is picking. The first stage, during the first stage, the small leaves, which are called the first buds, they are picked from the tea plant, and in fact, the tea picker will choose the leaves according to the type of tea which is being produced. Not all of the leaves will be picked. Then we've got wilting. This process is done in order to remove some moisture from the leaves. It is done in the sun or indoor by gently heating the leaves. Then is bruising. The process is done in order to break the cell membranes of the leaf to start oxidation. Oxidation or fermentation, this is another name of this process, determines the tea type. During this process, tea leaves turn progressively darker, and also tannins are released, special chemicals. Then it's heating. After oxidation is heating stage. Heating the leaves deactivates the enzymes that cause oxidation. It also adds flavor to the tea. The next stage is called rolling or shaping. There are really two purposes to the shaping stage. The first is to alter the taste by breaking the cell walls and releasing the essence of the tea. And the second is to create distinctive and beautiful shapes which expand in water. The last stage is drying. The last stage of the refining process is drying, and the drying stage prepares the tea for sales. It is a very important process, carefully monitored, because if the tea leaves are not dried properly, the tea may become moldy. Now, let me analyze the following: tea bag versus loose leaf tea. The tea used in tea bags is commonly called dust. Dust is the lowest grade of tea, in fact, is the waste product produced from the sorting of high-quality loose leaf tea. It is usually reflected in the price if a company is using dust, unless you are paying extra for the name. Dust or no dust, bag tea is more expensive per cup than loose leaf tea. You can use the same leaves to brew even up to 7 cups of tea, and the tea won't lose its excellent taste. In this respect, loose leaf tea is more delicious and more economical. The tea, which is brewed from the bag, is much bitter compared to loose leaf tea, and perhaps that is why the British started to add milk to soften the taste. The tea from the bag infuses very quickly. It releases all of the caffeine at once. What's more, tea needs room to infuse properly, so tea bag does not allow the tea to infuse properly. Now, let me tell you about the particular types of tea which you can get from a fan. The first Aurile tea that I'm going to tell you about is Aurile white tea. Aurile white tea is called Paimutan. It comes from Chinese Fujian province. It can only be picked for a short time each year, which makes the tea generally more expensive than other teas. White tea is made from new growth buds. The leaves undergo wilting. They are not rolled, but they are simply steamed, heated, or gently baked in the sun. Aurile white tea is in fact the least processed tea from the whole range. White teas are elegant, delicate, with a pale color, a gentle fruity and floral fragrance, a mild sweet flavor, and silky finish. They can be served with beef, veal, or simple snacks and light desserts. They are not recommended to be served as a complimentary drink with some very spicy cuisines. Then we've got green tea. Green tea was the first tea produced, and today it is the most popular in terms of both production and sales volume. Young leaves are picked, wilted, and then heated either with steam or by dry cooking in hot pans in order to kill the enzymes in the leaves which cause oxidation. The leaves then are rolled into small balls to make shapes like gunpowder. So Aurile green tea is called gunpowder because the leaves are rolled, and it is similar to a gunpowder. Apart from the tea leaves, our tea, Aurile green tea, contains verbena, lemon zest, sunflower petals, and it has beautiful natural lemon flavor. The tea is very fresh, crispy, and very citrusy. It can be served with fish, fruit, or vegetable salads as a complimentary drink. The next tea is Aurile red tea. Aurile red tea is called pu'er. It comes from Yunnan province in China. The tea leaves are wilted and rolled to allow all of the natural oils to be released, and the tea is left for several years of aging, like wine. Aging is nothing but secondary fermentation. The tea leaves are mixed with dried cherries, chokeberries, and rose petals. It contains selenium, vitamin E, and flavonoids, which are very strong antioxidants. Pu'er red tea has sweet and strong flavor, distinctive aroma, and it's perfect to be served with greasy and fried dishes because it will help with digestion. And finally, Aurile black tea, which is called Yunnan. The leaves are subjected to wilting process and long fermentation, which results in very high content of caffeine. The leaves are mixed with hibiscus, dried cranberries, and marigold petals. The tea has nice and refreshing taste and beautiful peach aroma. It is perfect to be drunk with meat dishes and can be used as a base for delicious iced teas. Similarly, as I told you about how to brew coffee, I'm gonna tell you how to brew a nice cup of tea, especially when you use high quality loose leaf tea. So when it comes to brewing tea, temperature of water is crucial. White and green teas are not resistant to high temperature of water. The leaves are very delicate, and too hot water may damage the goodness that teas contain. To brew a nice cup of white tea, make sure that the temperature of water is around 70 to 85 degrees Celsius. You can brew the tea between 7 to 9 minutes. Green tea should be brewed at the temperature of water between 75 to 85 degrees Celsius. If you brew the tea for up to 3 minutes, it will have stimulating effect. If you brew it for over 4 minutes or longer, it will have relaxing effect. Red and black teas are resistant to water temperature, and in order to brew a nice cup of red or black tea, you can pour hot water at the temperature of 95 to 96 degrees Celsius to brew the red tea. You can brew the red tea between 3 to 5 minutes, and the black one for up to 3 minutes for energetic effect, and for over 4 minutes for relaxation. I highly recommend you to use FMT infusers. They're excellent. It is a very easy yet efficient way to prepare a nice cup of tea using high quality loose leaf tea. And finally, I've prepared some interesting facts for you, some interesting facts and figures. So when it comes to tea consumption per capita per year, the first place belongs to Turkey, as you can see. Great Britain is on the 5th place with nearly 3 kilograms of tea being drank per person per year. The global market for tea is very large, and it's estimated at $20 billion US. The UK tea market is worth £700 million annually, with 65 million cups of tea per day being drunk in the UK and 62 billion cups per year. And also, 86% of tea is consumed at home, which creates a huge potential market for our Aurile teas. So, what you've learned this evening is Aurile range, both coffee and tea. Now you should know all the features and benefits of Aurile tea and coffee, as well as some interesting facts that will help you make people curious. Before we finish, I've got a good news for you. New catalog for home is coming very soon. It is already available to be downloaded from our website as a PDF. This is the cover of the home catalog, as you can see, and we've got few fantastic products. So let's have a look what we've got. We've got plastic surface cleaner and wooden furniture cleaner. Yes, there will be available wipes for furniture, multi-purpose, and also glass wipes and wipes for the toilet. Also, the formula of the laundry liquid color has been changed, has been improved. So I recommend to try that out as well. And our cockpit cleaner has a matte version. So thank you very much for joining me tonight during the webinar. I really recommend you to follow our Facebook fan page, Aurile Facebook fan page. You'll always find interesting updates and info over there. Please don't forget to check our official websites on the regular basis and check the training timetable for the next week. In case you've got any questions, please feel free to send me an email or to give me a call or to text me. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. So once again, thank you very much for joining me tonight. Have a great evening, and I'll see you very, very shortly. Have a good night, everyone.